All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Papillion-La Vista Community School Board meeting, Board of Education meeting, for November 13th, 2023. We'll start off the meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. All right, thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. Thank you very much. All right, please note the open meetings law that's posted at the entrance to the room. And with that, we will start off Section 2 communications with some recognition. Dr. Rickley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey, members of the board. For our audience who is in attendance with us this evening, thank you for being here and joining your Board of Education. One of the things that we like to do, at least at one board meeting per month, is provide recognition for either staff or students who have brought recognition to the district, their building, or particular program. Kind of the benchmark that we use is if it's some type of state or a national level recognition. We'll celebrate all of them, of course, but before they come before the Board of Education, we want them to be a state-level honor, and we do indeed have that with us this evening. Before we call up this month's recipient, just a little bit of background information. This individual was recently named the Elementary Physical Education Teacher of the Year by the state of Nebraska, by the Nebraska Society for Health and Physical Educators, SHAPE. This individual is an outstanding teacher and an outstanding leader by any measure. There are a number of criteria that are specifically spelled out by the group that gives this award every year. The criteria include the individual must prepare students for a lifetime of physically active habits. The recipient must have a commitment to creating an inclusive learning environment that honors students of all levels of skill and ability. The individual must measure attainment of curricular goals and determine gaps within learning. And finally, this individual should promote and encourage inclusion, support emotional development, and open the door to creating lasting student and teacher relationships. We are, of course, talking about the 2023 Nebraska Elementary Physical Teacher of the Year, our own Kyle McMahon. Please come down and be recognized by your Board of Education. Kyle, you have made the entire Quail Nation very proud of you, along with your school district. So thank you for being here, and congratulations on your accomplishment. And with that, Mr. Bailey, I conclude our recognition for the evening.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, item B, Student Council from Papillion-La Vista South. Do we have Gigi? Are you here? You hiding back there? All right. Pick a seat, any seat.
Welcome, Gigi.
Alrighty, thank you for having me tonight. Unfortunately, Cameron cannot be here because she has basketball tryouts. So best of luck to her. I'm sure she will do absolutely fantastic. But just to recap, I am Gigi Sadlacek. I'm a senior at Papillion-La Vista South, and I am president of our student council. To start off with athletic events, football finished 5-4 in the regular season. They were a state qualifier. They did lose in the first round of state to Elkhorn South. It was a fun season with huge home crowds and fun theme nights in the Black Hole student section. Cross country, it was another strong season for both teams. Our boys were district champs and finished 3rd overall at state. Our girls qualified for state for the 16th straight year and were led by Caitlin Schwartz, who finished 3rd overall in the state meet. Softball had a great season. One season highlight was co-hosting the NFCA Katie Williams softball tournament at Papillion Landing. It included 24 teams from Nebraska, Colorado, Oklahoma, and Missouri. This was one of the biggest and best tournaments in the Midwest. That's all for softball. Volleyball, varsity volleyball had another amazing season with a final record of 35-2. They were district champs again, but came up short of their goal after being upset in the first round of state. Boys tennis, the team was chosen at the Metro Conference for Team of the Year of Sportsmanship and Quality of Play. They finished 14th at the state tournament. Girls golf, the team had a strong season. They again qualified for state and finished 9th overall. We were honored to accept the Class A 2023 State Volleyball Sportsmanship Award. This award celebrates our team, student section, band, and cheerleaders. We had 8 students sign national letters of intent on Wednesday to go participate in college athletics. And winter sports kicked off starting today, and we are excited for what lies ahead for these teams. For activities and clubs are in full swing. A few of the highlights to share. The PLS dance team has begun competition season, and for the first time ever, we are hosting a regional competition on Sunday, December 3rd. Our drama department just finished a production of Tuck Everlasting. They will now take the show into state competition for play production, so they are headed to Kearney to do a one-act, and then they will perform at the Holland Center the entire show. PLS Band and Color Guard had another amazing season. They got the runner-up trophy at state, with the Color Guard receiving Best Guard in the competition. DECA had 24 students place in the top 8, and 9 of those placed in the top 3 at the DECA Fall Invite. And PLS choir and band members are headed to Lincoln on Thursday to participate in Nebraska All-State and are set to perform with other students from across the state on Saturday. For events, our 9th grade teams and ROTC unit recently hosted an amazing Veterans Day celebration. We were able to honor our staff that have served our great nation while recognizing all of the families in our community that have a connection to the military service. We recently inducted 70 new members to our school's National Honor Society. We thank Chief Master Sergeant Melissa Royster for doing an outstanding job as our guest speaker. Student Council hosted a Me and My Guy dance yesterday. This was a new event for the Student Council, and we were glad to welcome elementary students to our gym for a fun evening with their dads, grandpas, uncles, so on and so forth. And that is all I have to report tonight. So thank you again to Dr. Rickley, the Superintendent, Cabinet, and our school board for your leadership. We appreciate all of the support that you give us for the students and the staff. Do we have any questions?
No questions. Busy fall and looking forward to seeing what the winter holds. So
Yes, very busy. So,
thank you very much for coming.
yes, thank you.
All right, next up on our agenda is a public comment for items not on the agenda. Please remember when I call you up, come on up to that center microphone there. Please state your name and address. If you don't want to state your full address, please state the city that you are from. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Brinkel will have the timer, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It'll be the first beep and then 3 minutes. I think that's everything there. So our first speaker is Mr. Darrell Lechner.
Hello again, everybody. I remember you all well. My name is Darrell E. Lechner Jr., and I'm a La Vista resident, and I have 2 daughters that go to schools here. First off, I want to thank you again for having us all here and giving us this opportunity to speak. I wish to cover a few. Many of you are aware that I'm part of a research group that follows and does research across the country. The more we research, the more, and seriously, we're alarmed. There are many wars, obviously, are going across our country. Many people do not realize that the BLM movement actually is tied to what is happening currently. We actually found direct connection from their own statements from this group and organization through multiple sources across multiple cities and states. And this is with the Palestine organization, their movement. They don't exactly call it that, but they have direct ties to that, and that is why we are seeing so many protests and everything being pushed across the United States. This, again, is a Marxist and a communist organization. They have communist card carriers, and they are everywhere. We just 2 days ago, we followed back and went back 1 year to a women's socialist conference, which was quite surprising. We were thinking maybe more towards a feminist side of it, which would have been more acceptable to us, but we keep getting shocked and alarmed. This one was held in Atlantic, Georgia, 1 year and 1 day ago. This was the most alarming and scary thing. This was full of educators, professors, and teachers across their state. Many other teachers came from out of state, and they had speakers. This organization is bent on the destruction of our United States. This is all I can say. This is real. There's wars going on, and these are being funded by extremist groups, and from outside the United States. This we have verified. If you do not realize it's here, it is here. I verified 3 professors out of the UNO directly who are tied to this organization. If you hear the words DEI or social behavior learning, many of this is tied with these organizations. They move people within these groups, and they influence teachers, and they've been teaching. This goes back 70 plus years. This is not, oh my God, they're here. This is all new. They've been working within our institutions. The APA, American Psychologist Association, has deep ties with this also. The more we research, the scarier this is. Most of our group members have been over 2 years. We consist of gay, lesbian, transgender individuals, Buddhists. We are not just one group. We're very diverse, and we're researching, and many of them are gay people are very scared too. They call it homonormativity. They're attacking any and everybody if you do not agree with them. It's a very collective, very strong, and very well-organized organization, and this is part of the reason why we lost one of our school board members currently. I suggest you wake up and protect our kids because it's here now and in our state and in our city. Thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Ralph Tate.
Good evening. My name is Ralph Tate, and I live in Papillion. Recently, the Papillion-La Vista School District determined that the book, All Boys Aren't Blue, was acceptable to remain in the Papillion-La Vista South High School. This was done by following your policy guidance. You had a panel review it, the superintendent reviewed it, and then the school board voted on it. This was as complete an endorsement of the book as this school district could possibly make, except for one school board member who voted against it. The reason I bring this to your attention is that the district is not acting in accordance with its own determination. On March 27th, when a parent read excerpts from the book, the decision was made to keep the book in the library, available to all children, until the review process was complete, which didn't happen until July 10th. And yet, when the video recording of the March 27th meeting was released, that portion of the meeting was deleted with the comment, due to the nature of its content, this public comment has been omitted. If the excerpts of the book are unacceptable in a public reading, why was that not removed from public viewing while the book itself remained on the shelf? Why not keep the video recording available, just as you did with the book itself, until the book review process had been completed? And now that you've made your determination, why has the deleted portion not been restored? Are you now ashamed to let people and the public hear what you think is acceptable material for children? Excerpts from this specific book have recently been read by U.S. senators and recorded in their public hearings on YouTube videos as they investigated the issue of pornography in public schools. They clearly thought this book was pornographic, and yet the video was posted on YouTube. While you determined that the book was not pornographic, but determined that such comments were not appropriate to be released to the public. I'm a little confused. By removing the video recording of the book excerpts, you are explicitly acknowledging that the book should not be read publicly because of its content. You have, in fact, negated your own endorsement of the book and have admitted it's not suitable for public release. How is it that if it is not suitable for public release, you have now determined it is acceptable for children under the age of majority to have access to such a book? Your own actions speak in opposition to your determination. Someone made the comment that ideas have consequences and bad ideas have victims. The people who are being victimized by this decision on the part of the school board are the very ones you are tasked with taking care of, the children. It appears to me that you could do a better job of that. Thank you.
Yep, that's it for public comments for items not on the agenda. So moving on to item D, Dr. Ickley, Superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey, members of the board. And again, welcome to those audience members who are with us tonight, as well as those who are watching at home via YouTube. We appreciate your commitment to engaging with your Board of Education. We have two important celebrations this week, one from last week. First is we are celebrating American Education Week. This is not a local celebration. This is not a statewide celebration. This is a national celebration which basically singles out our schools and the work that's being done every single day in them to support our families and to support our students. If you're paying attention at all, this happens annually. It's always the week before Thanksgiving, and it also happens the same week where we do our state school boards convention week. So for all of our teachers, our paras, our early childhood specialists, our drivers, our custodians, all of those people that work every day to provide the best possible services to our kids, to our families, to our community, thank you for the work that you do. Our country would be in much poorer shape without your efforts. Also want to take a moment to thank our servicemen and women. We weren't in session on Veterans Day, celebrated on Saturday, of course, but wanted to thank all of our nation's men and women that have worn our nation's uniform, including the gentleman to my left, former 05 in the U.S. Air Force, our own Colonel Skip Bailey. Thank you for your service, Colonel Bailey. We serve 9% of our student population, which identifies as military dependents. We know that the military is vitally important to this community, and we wouldn't have this great country of ours without their service. So heartfelt thank you for all of you that currently or have worn our nation's uniform. Along those lines, Mr. Bailey and I and Ms. Witt, among others, were able to attend a few Veterans Day programs. They're very common across this district. In fact, because there's so much overlap between and among our elementaries, it's impossible to hit all of them. But we hit Hickory Hill on Friday morning. It was outstanding. And then I hot-tailed it over to Anderson Grove, where they were doing a celebration and also recognizing Anderson Grove Elementary as our second Purple Star school. The first, of course, is Papillion La Vista South High School. Basically, there's a number of criteria. This is a national program in recognition of efforts that community and that staff has done to be military friendly, specifically in embracing military dependents and their families. So really proud of the work that Papillion La Vista South has done to become a Purple Star designated school. Very, very proud to welcome Anderson Grove into that very elite family. We're going to continue to look at other schools that have high military dependence in their student enrollment, and hopefully we can add more schools to the rolls. Also wanted to congratulate several of our sports and activities this last fall as winter sports gear up. Both of our football teams made playoffs. They made early exits in the first round, but awfully proud of the way they comported themselves. Volleyball, we had a number of administrators and board members around the table that were at that opening Monarch Titan. There weren't a lot of balls hitting the floor, and I think a lot of us probably have a few extra gray hairs watching that unfold, but it was just the level of volleyball was incredible. The amount of fan support was incredible. In fact, we found out Papillion La Vista South student body was recognized with the Sportsmanship Award by the NSAA. It's a little bit rare for a school to only have the one. South, of course, exited after one round when they were beaten by Monarch in 4. Usually you go 2 games deep into a tourney, if not 3, before student body is represented. So to only be represented in one game and have the student body make that much of an impression in one match says very highly about the teams at South and their students that follow them. But congratulations to all of our high schools, all of our activities. Band has had some outstanding honors. We're going to be doing some all-state choir, I believe, at a future meeting. Also wanted to remind the board and community, as I mentioned earlier, that the State School Boards Conference is this week. That is an annual conference put on by the Nebraska Association of School Boards. It's an outstanding opportunity to hear from nationally recognized speakers, breakout sessions, do some professional networking, and collaborate with other board members from across the state. Also wanted to remind the community that we have our last community closet event coming up of this semester on December 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12. For those of you that are not informed, the PLCS Community Closet is an endeavor where we have partnered with Calvary Shadow Lake to provide clothing and basic hygiene items to some of our most vulnerable families. We are doing outstanding work, and we are making a difference in our families' lives. Last 2 things for the board members. One, just wanted to remind the board that Ms. Baranka will be sending the superintendent's evaluation survey on November 14th. I believe that's tomorrow, so that'll come via email. So our community is aware I am evaluated independently by board members before they collectively pull those comments together, and then those are discussed publicly. And last, but by no means least, we've been promising this for months now, and we're just now getting around to it. The board had requested that we try to schedule future board meetings, regular board meetings, at our schools, specifically schools that have been touched by recent bond work, thanks to the generosity of our taxpayers and our community members. So we are tentatively planning on December 11th at Papillion La Vista South High School. More details will come. Gives you about a month to plan. We'll get you the particulars on the specific room assignment as we firm that up. But for our community members, we want you there. We need you there. We do like to mix things up a little bit. And for some of you, you probably haven't been in our schools in a while. This will be a good opportunity not only to see our schools, but to see your tax dollars at work. So more details to come, but December 11th, 6 p.m., regular board meeting in lieu of this location will be at Papillion La Vista South High School at a room to be determined. And with that, Mr. Bailey, I would conclude my superintendent's report.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next up, board reports.
On October 31st, I attended the liaison lunch at La Vista Middle School. We talked about future Facebook Live topics that might be important for the teachers to hear. They have started unified sports, I believe, and girls wrestling, which they said had overwhelming participation. They thought they'd get 8 to 10, and they had over 40. Is that what they said? Wow. Yeah. What I was most appreciative was the incredible gratitude from the staff for the principal, inclusive leadership, using data for decision making, and just the general culture of the school was very heartwarming. And just before we got finished, my grandson showed up and said hi to everybody, which was a great surprise. On November 11th, I attended the Access Your Future open house for 8th graders to learn about STEM and media academies and all the different programs that they have available to kids. It was incredibly well attended. There were a lot of people there, and my grandson's hoping to apply for one of those academies. And lastly was the Veterans Day Assembly. It was heartwarming, it was beautiful, it was inspirational. The third grade song, Sacrifice Made, had me in tears almost at the end, and the slideshow of all the different family members went on and on and on and on. It was just, again, very heartwarming and inspiring. Oh, we're hiring, by the way, for PLCS, Paris, etc.
I also had a liaison lunch on November 1st, I believe. Been a long couple of weeks. So at Liberty Middle School with the Young Adult Transition Program, YATP moved into the new wing at Liberty. So we had a great discussion on a lot of different topics, but really on how they were, adjusting and just some instant feedback after the first couple of months in that building. So it was a great conversation. It's a fantastic program. It's definitely that space they're still getting used to it, but it is allowing them to provide a little bit better learning environment than the prior location that wasn't really set up for the growing program that it is. So got some ideas and feedback on what they would like to see in their new building as we start getting into the design phase of the YATP building that will be built at Liberty. So it was a great conversation, and unfortunately I didn't embarrass my daughter, so I let 7th grade lunch came as I was exiting the building, so I didn't get a chance to give her a little tease in front of her friends. But fantastic program. Definitely check it out. They're glad, even their support staff having their own space in their room and more storage. It's just really allowing them to grow, and it's a growing program, so it's pretty exciting to see. So.
Well, I'll finish up. I know you've touched on, I think everybody's touched on a number of these, but the state volleyball was amazing. You're right, it was hard to sit there and just watch back and forth and on the edge of my seat, I think, the entire time as we sat and watched that match. And of note, John Cook sat down there for a while. We were debating up there, my wife and I, who he was watching, but it was pretty amazing that he came down there. Like I said, I'm sure it didn't go unnoticed on either one of the benches down there that he was there. Also did a liaison lunch at Trumbull Park. It was very good to see them. Great food and good conversation. It's interesting. They're on the beginning phase of getting ready to have a lot of construction done, and so a lot of the talk was, how is this going to work? What's it going to look like? How is it going to affect the teachers and the students? And when is that construction going to go on? I know you had mentioned, possibly how we could make this work and maybe try to pull in some portables to move classes out as classrooms were being done, and then move classrooms around. I know that my wife works at Carriage Hill. When they went through theirs, I know she moved classrooms a couple times, and it's definitely difficult. And I tried to reassure them that yes, it's hard to see. It'll be difficult as classrooms move around and move kids around, but that what you get at the end is something amazing when all the construction's done. So, again, very good conversation to talk to them about that, among other things that we discussed. And then I was also, like we mentioned at that Veterans Day ceremony, the amazing thing to me, the number of slides that were up showing everybody's grandparents and cousins and everybody else that served went forever. And was it before that or was it after that she asked all students that had somebody in their family that was associated with the military to stand up? And who knows but it seemed like 3/4 of the students stood up. So you just kind of went, oh, wow. Okay. So, but it was a neat ceremony to attend. Have a couple of guest speakers come up that were parents and speak. So it was great to go see. I enjoyed it. All right. Any other board comments? All right, fantastic. Well, we will keep moving along here. Item F under communications, committee reports. First up, buildings, grounds, and finance.
Yes, we did meet a couple of times since the last meeting. We met on November 3rd, primarily we had a long agenda, but we didn't get very far through it, discussing the board vacancy process, as well as then we reconvened before the special meeting on November 6th. The audit's on the agenda this evening. We talked about some potential partnerships with community partners for some opportunities that are out there. There's some other land that might become available for district use that's potentially part of our strategic plan. So just was made aware of that. Working on the interlocal agreements with finalizing those with the Granite Creek development or the new elementary, kind of standard protocols there, working on that. We did discuss potentially of using portables at different schools if it was able to speed up the timeline of the process and not be as disruptive. So we're definitely evaluating those. And the media center project that we obviously rejected the bid that was outside of our original plan budget. So we're working with our construction advisors to kind of see, okay, where did it come in differently than we thought, and what would be, a real expectation to then get it back out for bid and hopefully get that project going. So not getting it done as fast as we hoped, but obviously we've got to do our due diligence and make sure that we're getting proper bids for our tax dollars. And that was it.
List, thanks. All right, next up, human resources and student services.
Nothing. We haven't met. Thank you.
And finally, curriculum and Americanism.
The only meeting that we had was a short meeting prior to the meeting on our special meeting on the 6th, just to talk about the process of that. So other than that, we have not had a meeting, but we'll be scheduling one here in the future.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next up, action items, section 3, letter A, action by consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the action by consent as presented.
Second.
All right, I had a motion by Ms. Fisher and a second by Mr. Lotus. Any comments? All right, roll call, please, Ms. Barinko. Yes.
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 Thank you very much. Item B under action items is the 2024-25 school calendar. Dr. Settles.
Thank you very much. Yes, you will see that in front of you with no changes from the last time that I presented this to you. So upon your approval, you would find that our start date, the first day of school for the 24-25 school year would be on the 13th of August, with a half day for several of our students and everyone starting up full-time on the 14th. You will find that the last day of school is on May 22nd. The calendar includes 173 student days for elementary and 175 student days for our secondary students. For staff, we show on this 187 days. There are an additional 3 days not shown that are for parent-teacher conference time. That includes both the time spent in conferences and some planning time for those each semester. The spring break is planned for March 10th through 14th of 2025. I would recommend that once this is published, people do take a look or bookmark the calendar, as the colors sometimes do help as well. And I know that those that are here in the audience are probably viewing that right now as a black and white version. But we'll definitely get that posted and shared through newsletters and such pending approval here.
Point of clarification is I show the last day of the half day on the 23rd. Is that correct?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
May 23rd, the Friday.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that was clear on that one. Okay, thank you.
I agree with the color. When we got our packet, I thought how beautiful that was. So yeah, get the color version. It's great. I'll make a motion to accept the 2024-25 school calendar.
Second.
All right, a motion by Ms. Witt and a second by Ms. Fisher. Any comments? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you very much. All right, item C under the action items is the audit for 2022 and 23. Mr. Richards.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey, and good evening, Board of Education members. I'm proud to present our audit report for 2022-23 school year. O'Donnell, Fisinek, Wills, and Farrick served as the district independent auditors this year, auditing the district's financial funds from fiscal year September 1st of 2022 through August 31st of 2023. Just so you're aware, the school district audit consists of testing our internal control procedures by pulling a lot of our transactions throughout the year in various areas, testing our compliance to state, federal, and local policies, and then the auditors reviewing and assisting in developing the district's financial reports as well to the Nebraska State Auditor and the Nebraska Department of Education for the fiscal year. I'm happy to report the auditors had no findings this year in the report in all those areas that were reviewed. The audit report will be made available on our district's website by tomorrow afternoon. And as a member of the public, if you're trying to access that, you can find that at plcsschools.org. Then you click on About Us and then Budget Info. Just quick highlights on the general fund side. It was a little abnormal this year. This past year, we spent $142,661,432. Revenues were $138,235,006. That might make your business manager have a heart attack in normal years. But as we know, we were working to bring down that cash reserve by giving our staff stipends during the year last year. So this was a planned drawdown of our cash reserve, where our district's expenditures would exceed our district revenues this year due to stipends. And it almost happened exactly the way we hoped it would. It'd take our cash reserve back down to that 20%, where we want to hover around. I would like to thank the Buildings Grounds Finance Subcommittee of the board and their due diligence this past year, reviewing our finances monthly. Our district staff, especially Director of Business Services, Terry Staub, for her hard work and our staff's hard work in our department to stay diligent within our department and make sure we do things the right way. With that, I would propose any questions or entertain any questions or comments at this time.
Well, I just want to say that it's always gratifying to see when there's no findings that are negative. And I appreciate that the recommendations that we come across each year are addressed, and so that we don't see them again. So great job in your department and everybody involved in making sure that we are following the correct action, taking the right action, and allowing us to get to the audit successfully. So thank you for all the work that's done for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, big thanks to your business team. As a former auditor and now somebody that gets audited multiple times a year, I know how much effort it goes into pulling all the required information, answering all the questions, having them on site, not, taking care of them and doing your day job at the same time. And there's been nothing but increased testing and emphasis on multiple areas with all audits. So they definitely are a little more strenuous than they were even a decade ago. So much appreciated to be able to read through the audit report and have no findings, and know that our fiscal responsibility as a board, you guys are executing what our expectations are. So really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. All your hard work, all your team's hard work on this. Absolutely. I don't get audited, but I've had plenty of inspections over the last a couple of weeks, so I get it. So I appreciate it. It's always good to come back with a positive report. So any further comments? All right, can I get a motion, please?
Yep, I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the audit report for the fiscal year 2022-2023.
Second.
All right, a motion by Mr. Lotus and a second by Mr. Madler. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to section 4, discussion information items. Excuse me. Mercy. The only item here, item A, the interlocal agreements for the Granite Creek site. Mr. Richards, back to you.
Yes, thank you again. The district has 2 interlocal agreements before the board to review tonight. Both are to enter into agreements with the Sanitary Improvement District number 368 of Sarpy County, which is the Granite Creek subdivision. If you remember, the board approved the land purchase on that back in 2022. The first interlocal agreement has to do with the retention basement that will be located on the school district land. The developers will be constructing that basin, and then once it's complete, the school district takes over maintenance of it. That's pretty typical of what we see when we have a new development and a new school going into that area. As you saw with Prairie Queen and Ashbury, very similar arrangement to those 2 schools. The second interlocal agreement has to do with providing services and facilities within the subdivision that are required for the school district to eventually build an elementary school within that subdivision. If you think of it just like when you buy a home, that home within that new subdivision has these costs by homeowners that have to be paid for infrastructure improvements, such as sanitary sewer, paving of frontage, capital facilities, electrical services, and general condition costs. As your homeowner, you typically pay that over about a 20-year period. And you have interest accrued and everything else. Typically, as school district, we pay those costs as we're getting ready to move forward, and they're getting ready to move forward with their infrastructure as well. It's based on a percentage of the amount of property you own within that subdivision. The amounts determined the district owes for special assessments is $452,935, and for general conditions is $779,000, for a total of $1,231,935. Both of these agreements have been reviewed by our engineers, who Lamper and Earson typically reviews those costs with us, as well as our legal counsel, who deals with many school districts in the same boat as us, and making sure that those fees stay pretty standard throughout all the school districts in the metro area. With that, if you have any questions, I would be happy to entertain those right now.
Thanks, Mr. Richards. And where do the funds come from to pay this?
Funds are set aside for these in the bond. So this is a bond 2018. It's been earmarked for this for several years to come about here as we get ready to build the school.
Okay. And how does it compare to what we were planning on? Or forecasting for?
Yes, it's I think I had 1.3 earmarked for this, for those fees, and it came in just under that.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to move into Section 5, which is our Board Education selection to fill our board vacancy. As you remember from last week, we took 71 candidates and picked our top 5. We have all 5 of those folks sitting here in the crowd. So what we're going to have them do is we're going to have you 5 come up. I guess we'll just go from our left to right in order that we had them, that we drew your names. I think it'll be Dr. Tafoya, and then Ms. Butler, Ms. Wood, Mr. Bamer. I hope I'm saying that right. Is it Bamer? Does that sound right? He's not paying attention. Bamer? Okay, good. And Mr. Lang. So we'll put you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody get some water? Yeah, it's probably a good thing, right? All right. Welcome, first of all. Happy to see all 5 of you. Congratulations being the 5 here. What we're going to do is, as you may or may not know, we're going to give each of the 5 of you up to 5 minutes to tell us about yourselves, tell us why you think you should be on school board. We will have the timer going. So you will hear that beep at about, 4 minutes and 15 seconds-ish or something like that. So like I said, if you don't want to speak all 5 minutes, that's fine as well, but you have up to 5 minutes to speak. And then we'll go, like I said, from my left to right here in that order. And then once we are done with that, then we have questions as board members that we will ask you. We've got a way we're going to do it. We'll make sure that we let you know who we're going to ask questions to first and all that good stuff. The one thing I have been asked, and I did remember, Annette, believe it or not, there are 2 microphones up there. Obviously, you can hear that we've got ours on. I would ask that when you speak, make sure you have the microphone in front of you and make sure it's turned on. That little button in front of it will turn that green. That way, if you don't, we might still be able to hear you. Folks in back may not. And then we have the camera and everything. Folks at home, we want to make sure they can hear you as well. So we want to make sure that you have that turned on. And then once we finish with the 5 minutes and then the questions, then we will debate and make our decision after that. Have I missed anything? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then Dr. Tafoya, you are first up, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a vested interest in fulfilling Lista's. Excuse me. I also have a cold. I have a vested interest in fulfilling La Vista Community Schools. Not only am I a taxpayer, but I'm also a parent of 2 children who graduate as monarchs. Also, I have 6 grandchildren. 4 have already graduated as Titans. Our children are our most important asset, and our country's future will hinge on their success. Public education becomes paramount in their achievements. So it is incumbent for us to give them a world-class opportunity for education. Their academic health is a critical necessity, but physical and mental health are equal importance. To ensure that this is achieved, the educational environment must be free of discrimination, bullying, and criticism. Their individual rights must be preserved. Education and experience are very important for a member of the Board of Education. With 44 years as a small business owner of a dental practice, I have experience dealing with the public sector and knowledge of being fiscally responsible. During that time, I have volunteered for many civic organizations and service groups within the community. I also served 20 years as a member of the Papillion La Vista School Board. In 2006, I was a recipient of the 3rd annual Ann McTeer Award as the best school board member of the year in Nebraska. In 20 years on the board, the Papillion La Vista area has more than doubled in size. I'm proud to have been an instrumental part in helping the district grow from 1 high school to 2, 2 middle schools to 3, 8 elementary schools to 16, plus the ideal school and the addition of the academy programs. The pandemic presented discussions of epic proportions. The need to provide in-person education was a critical factor. As I look back on those 2 years, I am impressed with the results we obtained. The last year, we were successful in passing the largest bond issue ever by 66%. This bond will improve safety and security throughout the district and update our older facilities. Future growth is a growing necessity. I know that the responsibility of the board is supervisory. The board oversees the budget, policies, and activities of the superintendent. The superintendent and administration and staff oversee the operations of the district. The role of the board member is to supervise and not to micromanage. I am knowledgeable of the policies to protect the students, staff, and the diversity within our district. The policies are the backbone of the district, and without the policies, it would create chaos. Last spring was the 6th time that I made a commitment to be on the Papillion-La Vista Community School Board. In the primary, I finished 2nd for one of the 3 positions available. In November, the top 4 of the 6 candidates received most of the votes, and I finished 4th in a hotly contested race. Since the other 3 were seated, that makes me the top vote getter of the November 2022 election. As I have said before, I have 20 years of service. Of those 20 years, 8 were as president, 4 as vice president, 1 as secretary, 3 as treasurer, and the last 4 as a board member. I have the leadership and experience to make a positive contribution to the board. If you are looking for a new member to be a calming force, respectful, professional, have integrity, as well as a person who will be objective in his decisions, listen to other members of the board, teachers and patrons, then I am your person. I believe in public education. I know the district. I have the knowledge, education, and experience to do the job in a professional and rational manner. Of the 72 candidates that applied for this vacancy on the board, I am the only one that has been elected and served as a school board member. What do I bring to the board? I bring experience, passion for education, and knowledge to help you to move this great school district forward. Thank you for your consideration of me, and thank you for the service that you provide for the students, staff, and the district.
All right, thank you very much.
I have a comment. Can I printed out my comments? Can I pass them out?
I'm sorry, what do you?
I printed out my comments for all of you.
No, just go ahead.
Just go ahead?
Yep,
Okay.
I just want you to speak, because we're just going to leave it just like we normally do at a board meeting, so we don't pass anything out, so.
Okay, nope, that's fine.
I appreciate it, though.
Yep.
I want to make sure that Ms. Marenko is ready, and then, all right, you are turned off, so go ahead and turn yours back on.
Oh,
And
am I live?
there you go, you're
All
good.
right.
Go ahead, thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Butler. I'll start with providing some background information on me. I have lived in Papillion for over 14 years with my husband, Jim. We met at Papillion Days. I'm a mom to 2 boys, Charlie, who's in 3rd grade, and Wesley, who is in 2nd grade at Ashbury Elementary. I have a bachelor's degree in political science from Creighton University and a master's degree in public administration from Drake University. My entire career has been dedicated to public service. I was appointed as the Papillion City Clerk in 2009 and served in that role until 2017 when I accepted the City Clerk position in Omaha. Throughout my career, I have been a community partner working with businesses and residents to make this area a great place to live. I'm committed to community. I'm a firm believer that what makes a community great is people volunteering their talents. It is that mindset that led me to get involved in numerous organizations in the area. I'm a graduate of Leadership SARPI, co-chaired the 2013 Chautauqua event, was a teammate's mentor at both high schools. I assisted the Papillion Historical Downtown Business Association navigate state liquor laws for their now sold-out sip-and-walks. I was on the Papillion Historical Society Board, where I volunteered for years at the Winter Wonderland event by coordinating Santa's arrival at his very popular spot at the Portal Schoolhouse. One year, I helped plan the La Vista New Year's Eve Gala, volunteered at and participated in numerous Papillion Race Series events. member of St. Columbkill Church, and currently serve as a secretary on the Executive Pro Board. Now that both of my boys are in school, I am an even more engaged parent. I want to be involved in an important part of their day. As a mother, that is one of the reasons I ran for this school board in 2022. I believe strongly in investing in education to better serve the community. I want to use my sensibilities as a mother of 2 school-age boys, my government knowledge, and community relationships to ensure that all kids receive an excellent education and experience and truly be known for greatness. So why pick me? I'm a professional policymaker. My master's degree focused on public policy. I'm constantly analyzing other government entities' agendas and policies to see what works and doesn't. On a larger scale, last year, the Omaha voters passed my suggested changes to the Omaha Charter that revised the petition notification process for my office, ultimately benefiting the taxpayers. In 2021, I got a state law passed to modernize the notification process for the Board of Equalization. This law impacts all government entities throughout the state. During the public hearing, state senators referred to this bill as good government law. It was passed unanimously. Beyond that, for the past 14 years as a city clerk, I have advocated for transparency and streamlining process. I embody transparency and efficiency. I have successfully implemented an online public records request system, cutting the response time by 75%, made all Omaha City Council public documents available online and searchable, created an electronic voting system that meets the requirements of the Open Meetings Act, and implemented a method for the public to remotely participate in council meetings. I am a lifetime learner. I have taken every opportunity to continue to learn about best practices in government, taken numerous training classes on the Open Meetings Act. I'm a go-to person for advice on running meetings, parliamentarian procedure, and policy. I'm a proven leader. I'm the current president of the Nebraska Municipal Clerk Association, past president of the Omaha Unit of Parliamentarians, and a graduate of the International City Manager Association Emerging Leader Program. One of the promises during my 2022 campaign was to keep the tax levy low. As a steward of public funds, I carefully budget for projects while curbing unnecessary spending. Since taking my role in Omaha, I have cut my department's budget of nearly $1 million by 5% and continually have money left over each fiscal year. In fact, this year, I'm returning nearly $30,000 to the general fund. So what do I hope to accomplish? If selected, I will work with the board and administration to continue to build a school district that is attractive to families, students, and teachers, to provide opportunities and programs that serve this community. Specifically, I want to expand early childhood education, hire more mental health counselors and behavior specialists. I will also work to protect teachers' plan time. By picking me, you will get a board member that will keep the momentum going, a strong leader that is committed to this community, that is an engaged parent and a professional policymaker who will work with you to achieve the goals of this district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you ready to go? All right. You have a microphone?
I think I have it on.
I think you do. All right.
Hi, I'm Lisa Wood. Thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity this evening. I wanted to start out just by giving you some information about my professional career. Currently, I've entered a stage of my life where I'm retired. It's great, let me tell you. But prior to that, I spent 38 years as a professional educator. The first 14 years of my career were spent in the classroom. In central Nebraska, I spent 4 years as a kindergarten teacher and 10 years as a first grade teacher for Loop City Public Schools and St. Paul Public Schools. Following that, I moved into the administrative position and was the building principal at St. Paul Elementary School for the next 8 years. Then in 2005, my family and I made the decision to move to Papillion La Vista Community Schools, and I became the principal at La Vista West Elementary. And I must be very sincere and tell you that's a very special part of my career that I'll always treasure. I was at La Vista West Elementary for 12 years, and then at the end of my career, the last 4 years, I spent at the central office where I was administrator of federal programs. And in that role, I prepared the Title I grants and made sure that those grants were followed as identified by the guidelines of Title. And I also oversaw the English Learner Program, K-12. in the district. Two other growth experiences that I think were important when I was in the district. I was the principal for the summer school program, the elementary school summer school program, for 16 years. And in the final year in the district, I was one of the principals for the remote learning program during COVID, where we served several hundred students remotely, along with a staff of about 60 teachers that really made things work. Besides my professional career, I've also had the perspective of being a parent in the Papillion-La Vista Community District. My youngest son enrolled at Papillion-La Vista South when we moved to town as a freshman and graduated from that school. My daughter is currently a teacher in the early childhood program in the district and does some of the very important work with the youngest learners we have. And I have two grandchildren in the district that attend one of our elementary schools here. And so my perspective is broad, and I have the ability to look at it from my professional as well as my personal lens. I think that it's really important, and I think it was Mr. Madler talk at the last board meeting about how there are so many different community service opportunities to pursue. And he encouraged those 71 people that applied to look at some of those. And as I've moved into retirement, I have found that I wanted to be very focused and intentional as I chose the ways that I wanted to spend my service opportunities. I've committed to giving myself a year because there's so many good things out there. You could find multiple things to do each and every day, but I think it's really important to have that good fit. I have been able to find a few opportunities that are of value to me and ways that I can serve through my church. I feel food security is very important to me, so I've been able to commit to some food bank opportunities as well as meeting the needs of some of the other community members that we have in need. When I saw the opportunity to participate or be a part of this opportunity as a board member, again, I looked at my skills and talents and felt that from my experience, my knowledge that I have as a professional educator, but even maybe more importantly, the passion that I bring. I dedicated 38 years of my life and my career because I believe in teaching and learning. I believe that every child that walks into our school should have the opportunity. Every teacher should be empowered to do their best. And I would continue that commitment as a member of the Board of Education to be a member of your team and continue the good work that you've done up to this point. I'd like to also take a minute just to commend the four other people at the table with me that are willing to give their time and commit to being a member of the board and that service. I think it's very commendable that both Fred and Elizabeth ran in the past election, which again shows their dedication. But again, when I think about it, it doesn't really surprise me because over the years, I've always seen people step up in Papillion-La Vista schools. The school district is important to the community, and they follow through with that. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. We'll give Ms. Branco a second here, make sure the timer's all set up, and then I'll let you go. You ready to go? Got the microphone turned on? All right.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Bailey. I'd like to first off go by saying, man, I'm super nervous for tonight, I'll tell you. And I just want to say very honored to be up here with the rest of this panel. I know this is probably a really difficult decision for you guys, and we all really want to serve the community members in this district. I'd like to first off really kind of focus in on my family. Married, my wife Christina, super supportive. I tell you, she definitely helped me pick out my clothes for tonight, so that was nice of her. So I'm sure she's watching right now, and so that recognition is good. So we raise our three boys together here in the Papillion-La Vista School District. Three boys that are very unique and different, and it's just super exciting to watch them grow in this community and go to sporting events and go to school events as well and be a part of PTO and other things for my kids. And it's really important to note that because decisions that are made on this board directly impact them. So decisions that I would make would directly impact them. And then also for my 2-year-old. So decisions that I make today or a year from now are definitely going to affect him later on. So it's important to note that. It's important to note that I've lived my entire life in this community. My first school that I ever went to was La Vista West Elementary years ago, and my father, he grew up here and went to Papillion Monarchs, and I think it's important to note that my family's embedded here, I'm embedded here, and I'm committed to a life here. My wife and I chose this community to grow our children, and we're not going anywhere. They're all young, and yeah, we're not going anywhere. Our family is here, our friends are here, and it's just a super great place to be, and we really appreciate what the board's done and what the community members have done to make it a great life for them as well. Touching on community service, especially I'm part of the Papillion Optimist Club. I'm a member there, to where we collect funding and look into different opportunities and organizations to help and directly impact this Papillion La Vista School District and provide grants and scholarships to kids in your school district. So that's really great to be a part of that organization. And most notably, as a board member of the Papillion Community Foundation, to where I've been since 2019. And it's important to note that, because I am a board member just like yourselves. I go to board meetings on a regular basis and committee meetings, and part of something greater than myself, something to where we're looking in for the betterment of this community and making decisions that don't just affect people around us, but just directly impacting our community itself. And we're notably mentioned with Papillion Days and Winter Wonderland, to where we put those on every year, and we do so much more, to where we're able to collect funds and look into different nonprofits to also assist, and grants and scholarships, again, to your students, to your kids in your school district. And so we definitely help them out each and every year, so it's great to be a part of that. And to my main, I guess what takes up a majority of my time in my career is as a police officer. Being a Papillion police officer here in the city of Papillion for the last 7 years. Various roles to include as a road patrol officer and school resource officer, and now DARE officer. As a road patrol officer, the main commitment there is the protection of our citizens across the community and also our schools. And it's important to note that, and going into as an SRO, as a school resource officer, because I've spent a majority of my time up at Papillion La Vista High School as a school resource officer for 3 years, and then now a DARE officer, to where I'm in your schools, talking to your teachers, talking to your students, talking about the impact that decisions that are made in this room impact them on a daily basis. I think it's important to note all that, because this board has a unique opportunity to really focus on a decision to where you could make a decision to have somebody that's in your schools, also a father, hearing feedback across the community, and to where my number one priority is the safety of my kids, but also the safety of this community, the safety of your staff, the safety of your students and its facilities. I was directly involved on critical incidents and threat assessments from across the district for years, and I'd like to continue to do that, even if not selected tonight. I think, again, this board has a unique opportunity to bring a public servant on the board, and then also, if not selected tonight, I can assure you that I will continue to be an advocate for this community and protect this community, and also be a great role model and resource for your staff and students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your wife did a good job picking it out too, by the way. So, sorry, just had to give you a hard time. All right. Yes. Oh, all right.
I've got it.
We got a couple of them that got it. So one way or another, you're going to hear about it if you go over 5. But it seems like that's okay. That happens. That happens. All right. So then, my other timers, are you all ready? All right.
Good evening. I'd like to take a moment to thank the board for selecting me as a finalist among this esteemed group of candidates. I could not be more honored to be here representing the parents of the community as a father of 4 and a thoughtful professional seeking to enhance what I believe is the best school district in the state. My name is Jeremy Lang, and I'm a proud product of the Nebraska Public School systems, from Gilder Elementary to Bryan High School to UNL for my undergraduate, to lastly UNO for my MBA. I've worked the last 19 years at FNBO, where I currently serve as the Senior Director of Operations where I manage a team of over 40 people responsible for keeping our systems operational and healthy, driving continuous improvement, and leading our robotic process automation strategy and team. Beyond my team, I've had the opportunity to sit on steering committees of large projects, on oversight boards like our Data Governance Committee. I also recently have led bank acquisition activity and vendor contract negotiations that I believe would be experience that would be helpful to the Papillion School Board as we oversee the superintendent, the development and execution of the strategic plan, and the implementation of the bond program. Beyond my professional experience, I just want to take a minute to talk about how childhood development has long been a Lang family tradition. Growing up, I lived in an in-home daycare run by my mother, and I was constantly surrounded by children. My mom would do anything that it took to support the parents and kids to be successful in school. Even while mom was busy at school, with 10 children running around, my siblings and I were able to participate in sports, learn the importance of hard work and seeing it firsthand at home while getting help with homework when needed. My mom has long since retired from childcare, but I do get to see the same passion that my mother put into all her daycare kids, now into what she does with her 7 grandkids. My 2 grandmothers were part of the OPS school district. My grandma Naven ran the kitchen at Lewis and Clark Middle School for years, ultimately retiring from the school district. I remember her needing to be up early during the school year to prep breakfast for hundreds of kids. And then as summer came each year, you'd find her sleeping in late each morning trying to catch up from a busy school year. So I can definitely appreciate what our teachers go through. She had a commitment to the kids and her staff that is similar to what I get to see every day in our district at school drop-off. My grandma Lang took a part-time job at Brighton High School while my siblings and my cousins were enrolled. She worked within the kitchen and the various snack shacks, where she would load us up on donuts and juice to make sure we made it through our next class. It was awesome to have her close to us growing up, and I'm appreciative of those types of opportunities that exist in and around our school systems for family to get involved and stay closely linked to their community. That family passion for kids has descended through the generations and landed squarely with me, where my volunteer time has been spent on education and childhood development, supporting junior achievement in schools around the city, as well as serving on the SAVE board program that serves 3rd grade through 8th grade students with the opportunity to be tutored by local college students on our campuses around town, experience the trade programs through Metro, participate in extracurriculars by providing funding, supplies, and equipment for sports, music, and other programs that the students could not otherwise afford. All those childhood, professional, and volunteer experiences connected to create the candidate you see here today that is passionate about education, supporting our community, and willing to work hard to make our school district the top in the state and beyond. I know if I'm selected as a board member, that I'll be doing all 3 of those amazing women from my family proud by serving our community and over 12,000 students in our schools. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to the round of questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate all that. All right, so I'm going to try to explain here, hopefully I'll get this right, what we're going to plan on doing here. We essentially have 5 questions that you will all be asked, and the way we're going to do it to try to make it kind of fair so that we don't end up with Dr. DeFoya answering first and everybody else getting to copy him, we're actually going to start with question 1. I'm going to ask that to all 5 of you, and then we're going to go to question 2, and we're going to start with candidate 2 and go that way. Question 3, if that makes sense, until we finish through 5 questions. So all of you have a chance to answer one of the questions first, and all of you, of course, answer one of the questions last. So that was what we decided. 3 of us, I don't know if you all know this, but Mr. Lotus, myself, and Ms. Witt were all in your shoes the last time we did this in 2017, sitting right there. So anyway, that's what we came up with. So any questions on that part? Like I said, we'll kind of go through there. So you'll hear, like I said, I'm going to ask the question first. Dr. DeFoya, I'm going to ask you a question. We're not going to put any time limit on the questions. Obviously, if you draw it out and start going into your whole 5-minute speech again, I'll probably ask you to quit. But if you answer the question as asked, and then, like I said, I'll ask the same question to all 5 of you, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully I made myself clear and didn't go too crazy on that. Did I miss anything, get anything wrong? All right, we'll give that a shot. So that started. Dr. Tafoy, if you want to grab a microphone there so we can make sure we can hear you, that'd be the other thing. If you guys could just make sure you pass microphones around so everybody can hear you, I'd appreciate that again. Got to put my eyes on. All right, there we go. So the first question tonight, Board of Education decisions may conflict with your personal beliefs from time to time. How would you process a conflict between your own beliefs, district policy, and student needs?
I do not feel that, I do not feel that we should have personal agendas involved with our subjectivities or politics involved with what we're doing. I think that to make the decision, we have to be objective. First of all, we have to get the facts. And from those facts, you go ahead and make an objective decision and go with that. But there's no place on the board for personal agendas or subjectivity. I don't see that at all, and especially politics. I definitely think does not belong in here.
Thank you very much. Would you like me to read the question again?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm good. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Politics doesn't have a place here. We have to do what's in the best interest of the school and the students. It's okay to express maybe your opinions on it, but once a vote's made, it's done. Yeah, that's all I'll add because you answered it great. So.
I think, if I understood the question, or from a perspective of the kids, all of our decisions are kids first. That's what it's about. We're making sure that the decisions that we make are focused on what's best for kids, and that's done by following the policies that we have in place, and the policies that you continue to review and evaluate. The policies give us the guidance that we're able to make to move forward. And when becoming a member of a board, that's what you are. You're a member of a team, and so your personal feelings come second to what the group decides is best in being able to follow policy, implement policy, and meet the needs of students and staff.
Could you repeat the question just one more time? Thank you.
Board of Education decisions may conflict with personal beliefs from time to time. How would you process a conflict between your own beliefs, district policy, and student needs?
Definitely. I think I can speak to exactly, continue on to what the other interviewees said, speak to the fact that we're just one vote in a room of other people who have different perspectives and ideas. I think when it comes to, we have to have an objective decision to where we're unbiased, selfless, independent vote, truly, to where we're able to gather information from across the district, from people that are supplying us information and facts and information, and make a well-informed decision based on those facts, and not something that we truly just believe in or something that we dealt with in the past. I think as a police officer, it's great to bring that perspective to this board, to be completely honest with you, to where morals and ethics come into play, to where just like on the road or in your schools, to where decisions that are made have to be based on the facts that are presented in front of us. And again, facts, information, making well-informed decisions, that's what we do, or you do on the board. And I think that's the view that everybody should have. Thank you.
Thank you. In my business role at FNBO, we're making decisions, balancing stakeholder input, feedback, and desires all the time. And so as I look at serving on the board, one of the, I think the key elements is what are you grounded in? And I think that's serving the students first and foremost. And so regardless of how I feel about a decision, it's all about what's best for the kids in the district. Second to that, I think it's incredibly important that the board collaborates and comes to a decision together around unification around the district. I think we've seen way too much divisiveness, and I think we as a group need to come together. Third, pulling in data where it's possible. I recognize it's not always possible, but there are opportunities to leverage data in decision-making, and I think where possible, we absolutely should bring that forward. I think that helps everybody come to that same position, moving off of personal opinions or biases towards what's really right for the district. So that's how I'd approach those types of questions and challenges. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Madler?
I get the long one, so if you need this repeated, just let me know. Okay, so Ms. Butler, you'll start this one and then we'll move on. Public schools in the state of Nebraska operate under local control. However, legislative actions sometimes require that districts comply with added curriculum or other requirements that could interfere with how the district operates. Is there anything you would do as a board member when legislative bills begin to step into school board responsibilities?
Well, absolutely. As you saw from my speech, I have no problem going and working with state senators on bills. In fact, I do that in my job with the city of Omaha. They'll call and ask for my opinion on stuff that relates to metropolitan cities. So I have no problem working with the legislature to help assist on bills that would affect and benefit this district and provide my input and go back down and testify on our behalf.
One of the primary goals of this Board of Education is to choose a leader, a superintendent, to lead your district. And I see the role of our superintendent as being one of the roles being a voice for us at the legislature. And I think by selecting and supporting and evaluating our superintendent and providing him or her with guidance, it is very important that our superintendents make themselves visible at the legislature, that they appear and speak and share so that we ensure that our board is able to be in step with what the legislature wants done, but in the same way be able to do what we know is best for kids. And if we see a change needs to occur, then we need to make sure that we support our superintendent and that we work with our lobbyists and that we make the changes that will best meet the needs of our kids.
I think I have the added luxury of being in government, not shy from talking to community leaders and people throughout the community and throughout the state on changes that directly impact our community and our citizens. I think advocating for our community, our parents, our staff members, our students would be in line with what I already do in government, and that is advocating for others and doing what's best for other people. I think just being in government again and I'd be totally, or actually extremely fine with communicating with other people and doing what's right for our staff and our students at the local level that coincides with state law changes. And I think it's great that this board has brought on, looking at past board meetings and being here and watching. It's been nice to have individuals come and talk to us on changes that are upcoming and current, and making sure that this board is up to date on any type of current changes, so we're prepared district-wide to make changes that affect our staff and our students.
Thank you. To be quite honest, being fairly new to the school system and board policies, I don't know the answer to that yet. And so one of the things I would be looking at is what is the appropriate role in engagement with whether it's lobbyists, whether it's state legislatures versus the role of Dr. Andy Rickley, when and where we can leverage resources within our board's control and school board's control, or organization's control around communication. If something really looks like it's going to overstep our ability to serve our students and serve our students well. What I do know is relationships are key. and making sure we understand and appreciate the stakeholders involved within our state legislature, how it interacts with this board and with our peer boards across the city and state. That's really where I think as a board member, I need to continue to understand and learn and see what role I might play in engaging with those state legislatures and engaging in our community to make sure that legislation that's passed is something that ultimately serves our students and serves them well. Thanks.
I feel it's very important to open up communication with our legislators in Lincoln and also in Washington. And I do think that this has been a chronic problem in the last few years with the legislators trying to come into our boardroom and tell us what to do and how to do it. And each time they do that, they not only implement changes in our curriculum and the way we do business as a board members, but it also they do not fund them, and we need to let them know how we feel about it, and if they're going to do these things, they're going to have to fund it because we only have so much in the budget. They make a decision, and then they're wasting money on something that we already are providing. There are 3-4 bills that I could talk to you about right now. I think you people already know about that because I've had these discussions, and in each case they overstep the boundaries, and they come into our boardroom changing our curriculum, like I said earlier, and had the additional cost, and not only that, the teachers now are burdened with the changes. The teachers are overworked as it is. We don't need the legislators coming in and telling us that we need to make them work harder because we're going to change the way we're doing business. It is imperative that we do maintain, not only with our lobbyist, let him know how we feel, but we also have to maintain a relationship with the various legislators that we have in our community, in our immediate community, and reach out if you do know since I've been around here since 72. I've been around here a long time, and I have gotten to know legislators in Omaha and also in Lincoln. And so I have been talking to them about the concerns that I have about them. I sometimes think they're not listening, but I'm going to keep talking. So communication is the main thing, I think. We need to let them know how we feel about the various bills that are presented and give them something to think about when they do make those decisions.
All right, thank you. We will move to the third question now. Ms. Witt, and we'll start with Ms. Wood.
Thank you all very much. You've been really good so far. So this starts with Lisa. What do you believe to be the biggest challenge facing the Papillion-La Vista School District at this time, and why?
Well, I think the magic starts in the classroom. So how do we recruit and retain the fantastic people that we have teaching in our classrooms? I think that's one of the challenges that we have today. I think that we can say that we have an outstanding staff now, but as our educators deal with ongoing challenges and it will become harder, I think, to keep those great people in our buildings. And so I think it's really important because it is at that very basic level where teaching and learning occurs. And to continue to have outstanding school district, we need to have our focus on outstanding staff, not only in the classroom, but our support staff as well, our paraprofessionals, our custodians. You know, how do we continue to recruit and retain those great people that help us do the great work of working with our kids? I think that's one of the challenges that the board will face right now.
I think preparing for this interview, a looked at many challenges that districts from across the nation kind of deal with, and especially not only here in Nebraska but other states, it's definitely going to be our teachers. You know, I have the luxury of being in your schools and working hand in hand with your teachers and collaborating and working with administrators, and I think making sure that our teachers are happy, they're available to educate our young minds, and also be available for parents for input as well. And talking with teachers from across the district over the last several weeks, definitely that's what I heard. I heard a lot of from them specifically about how it would be great to focus more on the kids and have more time to focus on their learning. And I think that that's mainly from a retention side, kind of focused on them more, especially when it comes to their days off, things like that. And then also from a recruiting standpoint, it's not like what it used to be to where we had dozens of teachers applying for one position. And it's a lot less, just like other industries as well, law enforcement included. And I think we just continue to be competitive with other school districts in the metro area, and do what's right so we can focus on getting qualified, passionate teachers in our classrooms to where they can educate our young minds and prepare them for the future.
So as I think about the most important challenge facing the school district right now, it's really that our kids are our future. And what I've seen recently in preparing for this session today is our kids' performance in school is falling post-COVID. We had many challenging years there. And so when I think about the most challenging thing for this district is how do we not only support the students but the teachers in helping those scores bounce back, the movement going to college increase back to norms that we've seen over the last decade that have been falling. Math scores, English scores, science scores, they're all kind of down a couple percentage points. And to me, that has to stop. We have to figure out a way to where those scores bounce back up for our kids and for our future. So that would be my answer. Thank you.
Dr. Tafoya?
I feel like one of the most pressing things that we have going on in our district and throughout the nation is mental health. Mental health has reared its head. You know, before, when I first started doing the school board back in the 1990s and that, we didn't have the mental health problems that we have today. And I think technology is rigorous. There seems to be so many more problems for these people to handle. And that is one area that I think that we have to concentrate on. I think that one of the problems they mentioned over here that we have with teacher retention and everything, well, with teacher retention, not only does it mean that we have to financially provide for them so they live decent, we also have to provide an environment for them where they can excel. We also have to take into consideration that because of the mental health that we have throughout the nation now, we have to address that issue. We happen to be very lucky in the fact that we have a superintendent that considers this one of the major problems that we have, and he has taken steps to take care of it. And so our district is moving forward in that direction. We have a long way. We've gone a long ways, but we have a long ways to go. So, go ahead.
So I guess I'll differ from everyone else. I actually wrote down an answer because I thought this question might come up, and mine is actually growth. This area is booming. Sarpy is one of the fastest growing counties, or it is the fastest growing county in the state. So I know that Papillion is vastly growing as well. And when I worked in Papillion, I was in the room and part of the executive team to manage that growth. So I have the knowledge and foresight that is required for long-term planning while still looking at short-term action to meet our needs today. It's just making sure that we have the facilities and tools that will retain teachers and families in the district as we grow, and making sure that we still keep the teacher-student ratio low.
Your turn. All right. So kind of the opposite of the prior question. So what do you see as the largest opportunity for the Papillion-La Vista Community School District at this time, and why?
We definitely have a unique opportunity here in the Papillion-La Vista School District in that we have 4 different cities that we have to communicate with and work with to make sure that our focus is on the community members, not only just in Papillion-La Vista, but also Bellevue and Springfield, because the school district is continuing to grow and it's surrounding those cities as well. So definitely growth, that focus on the fact that we have great infrastructure here in the Papillion-La Vista School District. We are strategic on how we do bonds over the last several years, and we spread those out and work on our great schools and our strategic planning. The luxury of looking online on your strategic planning as well, and looking into 2026 when it came to what the focus on for the future and annexations as well. And I think an importance on that is definitely focusing on young families in the area, young families that are coming to the area as well, and making sure that we're looking at that growth pattern, and also with the redistricting as well. If that came to light, that we would have to look into that also.
Thank you. As I think about the Papillion-La Vista School District, the greatest opportunity, it's the fact that this school district has so much incredible community support. And so when I think about the most recent bond issuance passing with 65%, and as I read the news over last week about how several nearby Iowa school districts couldn't pass with over 60% and will be struggling, I think that opportunity is something that needs to be capitalized. We have tremendous support for the school system. The schools should be leading the state. And anywhere that we're not, I think we should be taking advantage of that groundswell of support and pushing the state forward when it comes to education, public education. And so that feels like ongoing opportunity for this district. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what do you see as the largest opportunity for the Papillion-La Vista Community School District at this time, and why?
The largest opportunity is the fact that we have a tremendous school system. Thank you. I'm always getting in trouble with these mics, as you all know. Anyway, I think the largest opportunity we have is the fact that we have so much growth going on, so many companies coming in. The infrastructures that has developed over the last few years has brought all these large companies in. We have Amazon, we have Facebook, we have so much intel coming in here. And the opportunities for employment, the opportunities for education, we have them all here in Sarpy County. You mentioned about the fact that there's 4 of us, all 4 communities and all 4 districts are growing exponentially because of all the opportunities that we have. And where the populations come from is beyond me, but we will be doubling in size within 10 years. And I've seen it before, and it looks like it's even going to increase even more. But the opportunities for the business careers and the education are probably the 2 things that I think is the best.
Yes, and the opportunities that I see, again, is just, it's managing that growth, as I mentioned, and still offering the services that attract families, teachers, and students. And that's just expanding, on the STEM classes that were mentioned earlier. So again, it's just managing the growth and kind of along the lines of what everyone else said.
Great answers. I love the community support, the growth. Those are great things. One of the things that came to mind for me is I think we have an opportunity to be a leader in the state. As I've observed the Department of Ed struggle with some assessment practices and how we can best assess our children. I think that Papillion-La Vista schools, along with Millard Public Schools and some of the other leading districts in our area, have some great assessment ideas. And I think that, excuse me, I think that we can share what we know works. We can be a leader in helping our whole state move forward and put into place some assessment practices that will allow us to accurately assess our kids and help us determine next steps for them as we move down the teaching learning continuum.
Turn my microphone on. We are down to our fifth and last question for all of you. The district's current strategic plan focuses on rigor, mental health, and recruitment retention of staff. As the district considers goals for an updated strategic plan, what goals do you believe we should focus on?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure, absolutely.
Multifaceted.
The district's current strategic plan focuses on rigor, mental health, and recruitment retention of staff. As the district considers goals for an updated strategic plan, what goals do you believe we should focus on?
So as I think about the public institution that we're all here to represent today, I think one of the most important components of that will be inclusivity. I know you have that in a lot of your materials online. It's an important part of the school board and school system. But as I think about a public institution, I want every student and every teacher in our school district to feel welcome. We have people come from all walks of life. And so when I think about one of the key elements, and I think that even drives into the mental health component, but at the end of the day, we need to be a supportive environment, not an environment that's tearing down. And so that's one of the key elements that I'd see in the strategic plan. The second, and I think I'm going to echo some of the previous answers, is how do we handle growth without loss of quality? Sarpy County is growing like a weed. It's incredible to see as a lifelong Sarpy County resident. But balancing that within the strategic plan to continue to hold ourselves to a high standard while expanding and growing as a net positive migration school district. I don't see that ending. I think you've built such an awesome reputation here that we've got to figure out how to maintain it going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Close to the situation, know exactly which goals I should concentrate on. You mentioned the two biggest ones that I mentioned, the health and the retention. Those are the two biggest ones. But we do have to continue taking care of the growth. The growth is going to be a large amount of attention in the next few years, as it has been in the past. But growth, the improvement in our educational system, although we are in the cutting edges of education right now, our curriculum is one of the best in the nation. I don't know. I really don't know which one I would concentrate on. I would just, like I said, the two that I wanted is what you're talking about. As far as the residual, the fringe, I don't know what I would say. I'm just going to have to let it go.
Well, first of all, I am on board with the mental health and behavior specialists. I want to work to hire more of them, so I would work with the board and administration to do that. Again, like I mentioned, the other thing I want to do is expand early childhood education and make it available to more families. Again, I'd work with administration to make it happen. I know things don't happen overnight. It would have to be budgeted. I'm not going to raise a tax levy to do it. So it would just be working with the board and administration to see if we can make it happen and make it fit in a future plan.
These three strategic goals are outstanding, and it's hard to think of anything else that the panel hasn't talked about tonight. We've talked about recruitment and retention, mental health, and I'm a big believer that looking at rigor is extremely important as we look, as it was alluded to, how do we help our kids improve their scores, and how do we help kids be successful academically? Rigor plays a big part of that. I think the thing that we know is that strategic goals take time, and so continuing with the same goals is not a bad thing. It's one of the things as we move forward, though, it's maybe is there a way to integrate so that we can work smarter, not harder, that we can make it so our staff who's throughout the district, including all of our administrators who are already working extremely hard, how do we move forward with these strategic goals in a thoughtful way so that they can be intertwined together, so that they can be maximized in a way where they value the time and the talents of people, and because any one of these, if you take them individually, is a lot. And when we have all three, it looks overwhelming. So how do we continue down this path with these great strategic goals and help them be the most effective that they can be, and not overwhelming, I guess is what I want to say.
Thank you.
A lot of great initiatives that were brought up today. I'd have to say definitely being innovative here in the school district, to where we're definitely a model for other districts as well, and definitely known for greatness here in the Papillion-La Vista School District. Technology is something that I pride myself on knowing a lot about in my profession, and also working hand in hand with your school district back when they looked at the initiatives when it came to more surveillance to help our staff, and also for our staff and our students to feel safe, and for all our parents to, when they drop their kids off to school, they feel that their kids are getting the proper education but also feel safe. And I was part of that initiative back years ago, working along with your technology department. And I remember back when I was in the school as a school resource officer, and during the shutdown, and during where our focus was on one-to-one with technology, with computers in the secondary level. And everybody buckled up. Everybody really worked hard and got computers in the hands of our students so they can learn at their best. And for our teachers, the training that they needed to make that happen. I think technology would be fantastic if we were able to get that in the hands of students at an even earlier level as well, at the elementary level. And especially being in the technology age, I think that's something that we can look down the road for, and go one-to-one at the elementary level, so that they're prepared at the middle school, high school, and then later on in the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's the end of our question and answer. So first of all, before we go any further, I just want to tell all five of you thank you very much. It's not easy sitting up here and listening, or to having to answer all those questions and everything like that. And I do appreciate everything you all are going through right now. Now comes this kind of strange part of, in my opinion, is you get to sit up here and listen as we discuss who we want to be up here. Know that, it isn't, if we could take all five of you, I think we probably would take all five of you, but I'm pretty sure we can't do that. So understand, we do appreciate everything you guys are going through, and we definitely encourage you, if you are not selected tonight, to continue working with our community and to continue to be a good voice for our community. So thank you very much. So with that being said, now I'm speaking to my board members here. This is kind of where I wasn't sure how we want to do this. If you want to give it, each one of us want to give your top pick, and then we can kind of see if, then debate and see what we think about those picks. Does everybody agree with that, or is there another method you would like to do? Good. Everybody's kind of sitting here looking at me? Okay. Well, then I guess that means I get to start, since I'm sitting up here at the head of the table here. So I guess, like I said, the answers were incredible. Listening to all these things, I sit there and think maybe, I just have one of you all replace me because you have some great ideas. But listening to all five of them, I would say that right now, I think my top pick that I would like would be Ms. Lisa Wood, would be who I would pick to join us up here. Yeah, sorry.
I'll go next. I'll just make a couple statements first before I get into that. Mr. Bailey, you talked about how yourself and Brian and Sue Ann, all three went through this in 2017. Could you remind me which one was selected?
None of us.
Yes, none of them. None of the three. So even not being selected, all three of you stuck with it and had the opportunity to serve.
And that is a very good point to make. Thank you.
Yes. So don't see this if it doesn't go your way as hopefully you don't see it as being done as potentially wanting to get involved in the school district. It's probably the hardest. I mean, we've had to make a lot of hard decisions the last few years, but this one is not an easy decision to make. But luckily, you can't go wrong with the decision with all five of you. You all made me feel really insecure about what I've accomplished in my life while listening to you. So it just means I got to work harder in my day-to-day. So thank you for that, giving me bars to try to reach, and being, I think, all of you great role models for this community too. So I just want to thank you for putting yourselves out there. Like Mr. Bailey was saying, it's not easy. It's not easy to show up and basically do a job interview on YouTube where people can watch it. Just for the potential opportunity to serve your school district, you're willing to put yourselves through this, and it just says so highly about your character and your desire to serve. All of that being said, sorry. I think what I was looking for in this experience of looking at where maybe we might be lacking on the board as far as experiences that could help this board be a better board, I think I would go right now with Miss Wood as well. I think with her experience of being in the schools, in the classroom for all the years, I think would be a good experience to have on this board.
I have to mimic what Mr. Bailey and Mr. Madler said about how hard this decision is to make, because every candidate up here would make an excellent board member, I think. I think we did a good job picking our final five, and this is just unfortunate. We have to now pick one out of these fabulous five candidates. Every question you answered, I think, fit exactly with what we're doing, and it's a very hard decision. I think I'm going to have to go with Miss Wood as well because of the difference, the things that she brings to the table that are unique from what the rest of our skills are at this table. I think that brings something that we don't have, the classroom experience and the input that we would receive that would help us with other decision making along the way.
But I know the conversation. So, having sat at the other side of the table a handful of years ago, it was clear from about 2 seconds after we stopped speaking that the three of us we should have went home. I can tell you right now that has not happened with this board. We've taken this extremely seriously, and to have 71 candidates put forth their names to serve with us on this board was a tough enough task, let alone just to have the five of you up here tonight and your fantastic backgrounds and passion for this district. I too, like Mr. Madler, maybe it's the data accountant type people in us, but I was thinking the same thing. I sit on many other boards, and you got to take that step back and say, where are we lacking? Where do all of us have our attributes that provide something different to the rest of the board? I went rounds and rounds and rounds with folks to try to make a decision. When it came down to it, one of the unique things between a couple of the candidates were the candidates that did the hard thing and put their name in a public election. That was big for me. Experience. I mean, everybody adds something so much different. So with that, my recommendation for the pick would have been Elizabeth Butler.
This is really, really challenging. We have 5 great candidates sitting up here tonight who all brought really great ideas and thoughts to the table. There were some that I felt were stronger in answers on some questions, and some that maybe were stronger in answers on other questions. And I am always challenged by those that were willing to put themselves out there in an election, which is a whole lot different than being able to put your request in through here. But ultimately, for me, it's about while all of you have great things that you would bring to the table, what do I think would best serve this board at this time? So I've been sitting here wavering between a couple and just trying to make the decision as best as possible. Dr. Tafoya, there's no doubt you bring experience. You've had that experience on the board, and you definitely have helped this district throughout its growth time. Ms. Butler, you bring a different perspective with your policy work and all of that that you've done through your different positions over the years. Ms. Woods, you have the experience in the education field that's very different, right? You've been a teacher, you've been a principal, and you have those qualities that bring that, but you also have knowledge about the educational practice. Sir Bramer, you bring a community service through your work and the different boards that you've sat on, and the same for you, Mr. Lang. So I think everybody brings something different to the table. I started off at the first question thinking this, and then as the second question went by and the next, and I really got down to 2, but my final decision is going to be Ms. Woods. But I do want to thank everyone for your time and your efforts here tonight. Being willing to put yourself out there is huge. It's huge because you're sitting out in front of everybody and you're on the fly trying to take a good stab at the questions that we throw at you. So just kudos to all of you for being willing to do that.
All right, we had 4 from Ms. Wood and then you from Ms. Butler. Are you, I guess at this point, you take a motion to vote?
Yeah, do we have specific language for the motion? Is there one? Or no? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to appoint Lisa Wood to the open board seat.
I think that's great. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion from Mr. Madler, second from Ms. Fisher. Any discussion from anyone before we go to a roll call?
I mean, like we said from the beginning, I mean, there's not a single one of you that we wouldn't want to work with on this board. So I obviously had Ms. Wood in my top 5 for a reason. I have no problem with the support. I do agree that her background and educational experience within this district, particularly in serving some of our higher need schools and areas. I mean, it does add something that we might be missing a little bit on this board. So I obviously have no problem and definitely support Ms. Wood in her nomination.
All right, anyone else? We'll do a roll call, please.
Yes.
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 All right, well, thank you. Congratulations, Lisa. Again, once again, thank you very much. The rest of you, like I said, I agree 5 outstanding candidates. We really appreciate it tonight. All right, I'll let them. We're still going to finish our meeting here, so if you don't mind, we'll, like I said, if you all 5 of you would mind staying around for a minute so we can say hi to you. You don't need to stay up here. You can go sit in the audience if you like. Let me finish the meeting, and then we can go from there. So. Or not. All right, as we finish up here, the last item, future board calendar. We got a lot going on here on November 14th. Ms. Fisher has a liaison lunch with the Ideal program, 11:50. We've already mentioned it, the 15th through the 17th, the NASB State Conference at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. I know a number of you will be going to that. November 20th, we have the Foundation Board meeting with Mr. Madler, Mr. Lotus, myself, and Dr. Rickley. The 22nd of November, no school for, it's a staff development day, so no school for the students. And then November 23rd and 24th, of course, the Thanksgiving holiday. And then we will meet again on November 27th for our next Board of Education meeting here in the central office at 6 p.m. And we will swear in our new member at that time. Anything else before the board at this time? If not, I will go ahead and adjourn at 7:56 p.m. Thank you very much.